Hello, everyone. Welcome to another American Odds, the American Gods recap show. Feels like it's been forever since we've been here, but we've had a long week, and I'm sure bits and pieces of that will come up throughout the conversation. But with me is my buddy Cal.
Hello.
And I'm Tom Bennis, half of Odd Shape Channel, and I just want to real quick shout out our good friends Joe and Ashley, who just left today. But a while ago, I lent out my copy of American Gods, and they just show up with this. Isn't this nice? It's a beautiful book. It's silver, and it has silver leaf. I had the gold leaf one, but I'm not a big fan of gold, so this is cool.
And that's a complete collection, correct?
Yeah, yep. Complete collection has a Nazi Boys combined too, and that was with the. There's multiple versions of that. The combination books, like I said, I had the gold leaf one, and it had like. Because it was green and had like little symbols for the new gods as well, like the Wi-Fi symbol and stuff like that was in there.
Oh,
but this still
does have, look on the side. It has like the.
Oh, cool! Look, it has a little microchip. It looks
well,
like.
would it have Wi-Fi? Because you said the old version, didn't have like stuff like this, so they probably wouldn't have the Wi-Fi symbol, right?
Maybe not the Wi-Fi. Maybe it was like the power button.
Okay.
You know what I mean? How that was a thing, but it did, and I think like the radiation symbol was on there too. But
I think Mac just got on.
There's a microchip thing behind the Egyptians.
Oh, there is too. That is cool. Well, yeah, that's cool that it feels so. You know what I mean? Ancient, just sitting that way.
Yeah.
Well, they say that the layout of Egypt is almost like a microchip too, so that's interesting. Hi, Mac. How's it going? Welcome. Long time no chat. I'm kidding. We talked yesterday. But let's get into this bad boy. I guess we'll start it off right away with the Coming to America. What did you think?
Oh, I mean, especially with what's going on now in the world, right? It's pretty relevant to what's going on. And I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was well done. Like I was kind of, I think was it last week that we had did we have one last week or the week with the CGI? That was 2 weeks ago or last week? I can't remember.
That was last week. It feels like forever ago.
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't enjoy that one as much. So this was bringing me back to like something more like relatable and stuff. So I enjoyed it more. On par with the Anansi and the Vikings. Like I like that more.
Yeah, that Viking thing's gonna show up later because I have a comment about something, but it's fine. At this point, I'm going to stop complaining about how things were in the books because people are now hanging out with each other who've never hung out with each other, which is fine because I like what they're doing. But I'm gonna try to be stop being so hard on them. Kimber's chat. I guess I should say hello to Kimber too. She's in the chat. Hi, Kimber.
Hello, Kimber.
Yeah, I'm in the room. I won't be coming on camera today because I'm really exhausted from the trip, but I'm here.
She's here in
Hey,
spirit.
one quick question before we get into us. Did Joe and Ashley land safely?
They are on their last flight home.
Okay.
Once we get confirmation.
Well, I saw that. I didn't know if they were back yet. All right, cool.
Look, now that I'm free from Joe's grasp, I can say that whole kidnapping thing was an endeavor. If you don't know what we're talking about, look at the channel.
Travels. We're gonna need Raul to send you the our aspect of it too.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this right now. If anyone from Wizard World has any footage, I want to do a big master cut. Like I want to do a long, short little documentary, like a short little documentary on the whole thing style. So I think that'd be really cool. I'm gonna put pictures. I know Eric has some audio. I'll figure out some way to put audio in there. So anyone who has stuff, let me know. All right, so pretty much we'll put the beats out there for the Coming to America. I like the music choice for this. The music for this show is really good. I have a lot of music notes. And,
did we ever get the name of who did it? Because we made a comment about that before too, how we really enjoyed the music.
I know.
I can do that for you guys.
Kimber's gonna look right now.
Because I know we're always so into the Game of Thrones music with Ramin Djawadi and all that. So I figured we should probably give credit to whoever does it for American Gods because we enjoy it.
Oh, for sure. They definitely deserve the credit too. It's just hard to remember everything we're gonna say we're gonna do. So we get to see some immigrants, obviously, because of the tone and landscape. We can already see that these are most likely Mexican immigrants, and that's enforced later when they're speaking Spanish. But you can see them all praying in a group. You know, they're about to cross this big river, and apparently it's super fast, and the current's strong. And you know, that you can see that they're all praying together, and they all go across, and most of them come across safely, except for one guy. And he starts drowning, and a hand comes out of nowhere. And I knew something was up because they kept showing the feet submerge into the water as people were crossing, and I'm like, all right, they're praying to Jesus. The water thing is kind of just like obvious, but it was cool how the hand came straight down, and we didn't see him walk onto the water. He was already on the water when they showed it, so it didn't seem so cheesy, which I liked. I was surprised that the border militia showed up. I thought, you know, now that Jesus is here, they probably have a way out of here, especially when Odin told us that he knows a guy named Jesus who came over, and I assume he's alive. But I don't know. The whole Jesus resurrection powers, it's kind of hard to register. And I think that's who Sweeney's taking Laura to, so we'll see. But the border militia shows up, and they start firing Vulcan brand of bullets at everyone. And they did a really cool shot with Mexican Jesus, with the bullet going through his hand like stigmata.
Right.
And then a chest shot. I almost would have rather they did like a glancing shot across his thigh.
Yeah.
So it's like the Spear of Destiny wound.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was still cool. It was an interesting opening, and while I feel like there's enough Christian religion saturation around pop culture, like it influences a lot. It was still cool to see like a different culture's version of that. You know what I mean? As opposed to what we're exposed to every day.
And we also had the tumbleweed go over his head, which made the crown of thorns.
Oh, I'm gonna have you repeat that 1 second. But Kimber has a composer's name.
The composer's name is Brian Reitzel.
Brian Reitzel is the composer.
We should check out what else he does.
Crown of Thorns?
Also, after he falls down and he's laying there like this, the tumbleweeds fly over his head, and it makes a crown of thorns. I don't know if you caught that at the end.
Oh, I saw the tumbleweed, but I didn't see the crown. That's cool. All right. Well, awesome. So I like that. This is one of my favorite Coming to Americas, just because I like the immigration stories. I really want to see Mad Sweeney's origin, like with Irish immigrants, and I might be a little selfish because, like, my great grandparents were Irish immigrants, so I kind of really want to see that.
See the preview for next week's episode?
I haven't. No, I forgot to watch the behind the scenes and the trailer, so I figured we'd go over that at the end.
Okay, remind me to tell you about Mad Sweeney at the end of the episode then.
Oh, cool, nice. So there's some more Mad Sweeney next episode.
Always a good thing.
Okay, then we pick up almost right where we left off in the last episode with Shadow and Odin walking on a road. Was there anything that kind of stood out to you in this scene?
It was just the dialogue between them. It's like, what the hell just happened back there? And like, he's trying to get a better, even though he saw everything that happened, the whole interaction between Mr. World and Odin and all that, media being there and technology boy, he still like wants to know, to be clarify what happened. And you know, he's like, well, what do you think happens? What you believe? Isn't like I think he's like, it's what you believe happened, or what you. So he doesn't want to tell him what happened, even though he was there and saw it all. You know.
Yeah, it's almost like Odin can't say what he is. I mean, he does make allusions to it, but it almost feels like he can't just tell someone. The person has to figure it out, which is kind of a cool aspect of the character, I feel. But I like how it quick cuts back to the motel, and the motel's trashed from Laura and Sweeney's fight. That was kind of fun to see, like the collateral damage from the last episode. And we see that, you know, Odin obviously wants to get away from there, and obviously wants to get away from Laura because she's a distraction. Because, like, I think the crows or the ravens notify him that she's there. They start going, she starts running after them, and she's like turning up the music and like diverting his attention.
Well,
and,
did Did you also notice that like Odin actually drove? Because usually he has shadow drive, so that was probably playing to the urgency of how he wants to get out of there. Because like he's usually like being chauffeured around, so he actually got into the
Yeah.
car and drove.
That's a really good point. He did say the only time he would drive it was the first time. So that was cool. So we go back to Laura, who is, missing, just missed Shadow. And she runs into Sweeney. And so Sweeney has figured out that the only way he's going to get the coin back is that if he helps Laura come back to life, because that's all she wants. And so now he's gonna help her. So it sounds like this coin is more important to Sweeney than it is important to anyone else. You're getting more HT comments in the chat.
I
That's
gotta thank
fun.
my dad for this lighting rig.
Yeah. Well, your dad's the best, so we all thank him. Hi, Candace. How are you?
How you doing, Candace?
We're doing great. We're a little tired from the trip still.
Can I say that I love this combination of Laura and Mad Sweeney like traveling the world? I know someone else is gonna join them in a second, but just their dynamic together is fantastic. It's like seeing like Tyrion and Bronn travel, or like anyone basically with Tyrion go around. It's just always fun to see. This is like that to me. Like seeing just the interaction between these two characters is so fun.
Yeah, I completely agree. And they even said, not in this week's, but last week's episode, I think, with the wrap up at the end, they were talking about how they were going to just pair up an asshole with an asshole, and it just the dynamic between them works really well. Like I'm not a big fan, and I like Laura in the books a lot, but how they're treating Laura in the show, I'm not a fan of her by herself, but having someone to play off of and having a third person to play off of, like you were saying, somebody else is about to join them, is really interesting. And it's really interesting, this new character, well, not a new character.
Yeah.
It's like Old Face. I didn't expect him to show up at all. But they hinted at it because they went to the cab to steal it because they're trying to steal a car to get out of there.
And I love the fact that he still calls her dead wife.
Yeah, that's going to be all throughout, but it's perfect. The way they're treating it together. Real quick, hello, Nichelle. Welcome again. So he says he can't do anything about one car's alarm, but he can get the cab. So
yep.
I'm sure if he had the coin, he would have no problem. But it seems like he's familiar with like a certain model for some reason. And Laura says, "Oh, don't steal this. The back seat's a toilet." So this already like kind of hints that
call
it's
back
this
to the
cab, which I thought was really cool. And
they had a lot of good callbacks this episode.
Yeah, they're doing a good. I think they're doing a good job of starting to wrap up everything we've seen already, because we know there's only 8 episodes. They're doing a good job of wrapping up everything, so I feel like it's not going to be so shoehorned in the 8th episode because we only have 2 episodes left.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think they're starting to do some wrapping up now, so it doesn't seem so abrupt and like forced, which is a good plan. Okay, so Cabby pulls a gun on him, and at first I didn't realize who it was right away, and then I saw like the sweater and like him like dead on, and I'm like, oh, all right, this is the Cabby, which was really cool. And he overhears Sweeney say that he's a leprechaun.
Yeah.
And for anyone else who hears that, they think they're crazy, but this guy has had an experience, which is cool that his story serves a purpose almost for his character, because now he's on this journey to find the Jinn again, which I thought was really cool. And so they figure out that they'll all go together. He'll tell the Cabby where the Jinn is once they're in Kentucky. So I'm guessing whoever the person who's going to resurrect Laura, like I said, I'm putting my money on Mexican Jesus, is in Kentucky.
And also, like, Matt Sweeney already kind of knows what the deal with the Jinn is, I think, for all the like the little hints he makes, like throughout their travels as well.
I mean, like they mentioned it before because they're talking about the picture in the cab ride. We're jumping ahead a little bit, but
Right.
because these characters are talking about it now, I feel like it's fine. That person now has a different life, so it's almost kind of like, oh, this is kind of the Jinn's like thing. he'll go and he'll hook up with a
His MO.
dude, and then take their life, like not take their life, but
Yeah.
you take with the, what I mean. So I think it might be interesting when the cabbie figures out that what he thinks might have been so special and such a an awakening experience for him is like nothing to the Jinn. So I think that's kind of going to be set up for that. This is not in the book, so I have no idea, but I don't think that's going to end happily. I maybe, but we're talking about, I feel like, ants, and you know what I mean?
Right.
They're just ants, Michael. All right, so excuse me. So we go back to Shadow and Odin walking down the street, and oh no, I'm sorry, not walking down the street. They're driving again.
Driving.
Yep, and Shadow is bleeding, and we get during this, Odin's kind of saying, "Oh, I know a charm for this, and I know a charm for that." And if you go and you look in Norse mythology, Odin literally knows these charms he's saying. Like it's straight out of the lore. So that was really cool. And we figure out he's bleeding. He goes, "Oh, okay, I know a charm to stop the bleeding." And they go and look at the wound, and it's obviously corrupted or infected.
Wait, before you get to that, and without spoiling anything for me, remember he says, "Did you happen to meet someone in your jail or while in jail with who I forgot what he exactly said, but because you know how you told me that guy, his cellmate is very important you don't want me to look up his name because you don't want me to spoil anything, but he alludes to that. Odin alludes to that.
I don't think he was saying a specific guy. I think he was saying, you know, when a guy in jail gets shanked with a dirty shank, that it'll get infected. Well, this is kind of an infection. I don't think he was saying a specific person.
Okay.
I think he was saying, I could be wrong, but that's, I didn't even think about that. So, but I don't know how they're going to use him in this.
Yeah, watch that scene again, just so you may. I don't know. All right.
But they go in front of the car and use the headlight, which I thought was funny, to look at the wound, and there's this little thing there, and obviously it's a branch or something from the tree that stabbed him. And he says something that's cool, and he goes, well, first he always said there's always been a God-sized hole in man's head, as if we were programmed, since evolution, to fill that void with something. And he said the first thing to do that were trees, and especially Celtic mythology, and we can see that mirrored in Game of Thrones. They worshipped these trees and carved faces into them. Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was a really cool call. And there's a character that he says named Mr. Wood, and Mr. Wood, in order to follow the times, had to sacrifice what he is the god of. You know what I mean? That'd be the god of love killing lovers. It doesn't really make sense that to go through that perception. And it seems to have corrupted what he is the god of. Maybe, I don't know. Excuse me. So he eventually pulls it out, and it's gross. And he does this he braces him really weird, but I mean I assume he gets patched up because he's fine when they get to Vulcan.
So they went to Virginia, right? Is that what they went?
Yes, they went to Vulcan, Virginia. So oh, hold on. Okay, sorry, there was a little audio issue in the channel, but I hope it starts working for you, Mac. Sorry. Anyway, so we see Salim, or Salim, not Salim, as Laura likes to call him.
Kimber said, I thought we saw that the wound was healing itself. I think that's what she's saying in the chat.
Oh, okay, I understand. And sorry, this is where my notes get scribbly.
So this is where they're driving, and they're talking about.
Oh yeah,
smoking the cigarette. Can she smoking the cigarette and all that? That's what it's up right now, right?
Yeah, I also thought it was interesting too when the scene started that like I already had my guesses when she was like touching things at the end of the last episode that she like couldn't feel anything anymore. Like her nerve endings at this point have like stopped working, and like the fly landing on her face kind of just like confirmed that for me. She didn't like twitch at all, and I think they even say that again throughout the episode. But you know, they have a nice conversation back and forth. Like he obviously is embracing his new life, and she's still chasing her old one. And Matt Sweeney is like saying that in her ear along the way as well. But you know, she starts to like think of like, oh, you know, at least I don't have to go back to, like, there's elements of her life that she is thankful that she never has to go back to. Like she didn't jive with her family, so she's happy she doesn't have to go back and do the whole family thing with them. And Shadow's obviously in this different world now, so she doesn't have to go back to her old world. So I think she still sees Shadow as the way out. You know what I mean?
Do you think she feels any form of regret? Like she well, for what she did, like she cheated on Shadow and she let go of something who cared about her. Something.
I think she wants to, and I think she feels something, but I don't know if I don't know. She's still thinking about like the pesticide stuff in the jacuzzi. Like she's still, I think, a very apathetic character. It's just Shadow's more shiny now. You know what I mean? Like I think she's trying to justify her actions, but I think she's just chasing something shiny at this point.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
Yeah, that's. So they finally get to Vulcan, Virginia, which is kind of like a ghost town, although the people who are there are all their own kind of militia. I got like a big NRA vibe.
Right.
Everyone in the town had guns, and what was really interesting was there was this one shot where, because you know, I was thinking like, yeah, a lot of these people, you know, in the U.S. especially, you know, subscribe to like gun owners, and they're passionate about guns, but a lot of them are also like Christian church people, like especially in that area, Virginia. You know what I mean? And there was a shot with a gun next to a rosary, and I'm like, well, for some people, what's more important to them, the gun or the rosary? So it makes sense that you know, that their worship doesn't go to Jesus; it goes to like Vulcan in this example.
Candace said a little heavy-handed for her with the Vulcan.
Yeah, there's parts of this that I thought were unnecessary. But like Kimber brought up in the chat, the volcano sacrifice thing was pretty cool.
And did you feel like a white supremacist vibe? Because, you know, Shadow coming in.
Oh, the looks he got right away. Even that one woman sitting there who caught his glance in the car, like you can tell that he was tolerated but not welcome.
Mm-hmm.
The look he gives Shadow the moment he gets out of the car. But sorry, Candace is making some good points in the chat, so I'm getting distracted.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go like this so I can't see it. But yeah, I thought, I don't know. So okay,
I feel like
it opened with like
like Odin takes
Shadow
to the worst places.
He does, but it seems also like if we're thinking like mythology and stuff, a lot of like heroes are always like facing trials, and I mean, none of these are like the Nibian line. I always screw that up, but you know, the line Hercules fought. Like none of these are that, like literally, you know what I mean? But he is like, there are these things that are always testing him.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, and I'm sure this will come up when I'm talking to Candace, but when we read the book, we didn't picture him as black. You know what I mean? We pictured him as mixed race because that's kind of like how they describe him in the book. And that's what I assumed. It's not a problem for me. But it's almost like they changed his character to be black for the show just so they can talk about specific issues. And I feel like they either underhand the issue or they overhand the issue in some aspects. But at the same time, I don't know.
To be honest, when I saw the actor like on the other show when he was on the 100, I never thought of him as black. I always thought he was like some type of mix or something. I never thought of him as black, but I guess they're really trying to hammer this point in on the show, though.
Candace hates it, she says.
Yeah. I see Candace in the chat. Candace, we'll talk. We'll real talk. We'll chat. So while this is going on, real quick, back Laura Salim. They were driving to Kentucky, but Sweeney was sleeping in the back. And straight Goofy movie fashion, she turns the wheel so they go the other way, and they cut into like a giant travel by map.
Muppets.
Right.
Yeah, Kimber said it reminded her of the Muppets. Some of these, like, I like the visual elements of the show a lot, but some of the cutaways are like not consistent, and it doesn't bother me, but it always like makes me go, that was an odd choice. Do I like that? Like, it almost takes me out of the next scene coming because I'm still thinking about like the cutaways.
Right. Wait, can we just jump back 1 second for the part where he's like, someone did shit in the back, and then Sweeney does the little scoot?
Oh,
like, you know how that happened with
forget.
him. It's a callback to when Salim scooted the, when the djinn told him someone did shit in the back. So it's nice to see that,
Yeah. And again, the toilet thing even reinforces the joke even more, making it funnier. Hashtag moving right along, as Kimber says. We see the Vulcan, like a little Vulcan cut where we see like the machines and everything. But right before that, we see like a very happy employee. Everyone's, going around, and it's very like, this is the best work ethic place ever. And the railing fails, and that guy falls into the foundry. And then we see like the bullets being made and stuff like that. Now, are those bullets the same bullets that were used when Jesus got shot? I don't know. I assumed he came to America a long time ago, but he could have also just been there because they prayed.
Right.
So it's our cat's trying to mess up our carpet. Anyway, so we see them like straight up New Orleans style, which is weird because they're like having like a parade celebrating like the guy's, not his death, but they're celebrating his life because he died in the streets when they show up. Like, if you saw, there was like a big like tuba and like drums and stuff, which is weird for a town that seems so supremacist to kind of rip off a New Orleans tradition.
Right.
But I didn't like these guys to begin with, so it's fine. And they all shoot their guns into the sky, which is crazy, because we see that the bullets come flying down. But that segment was cool, where Shadow's back in the car, and Oda tells them to get back in, and they're just standing there in the middle of all the bullets just falling like nothing, and it's like, making little holes in the car here and there and denting it. I thought that sequence was cool.
Better CG than Wonder Woman.
Better CG than Wonder
And it
Woman.
shows like the immortality of the gods. They're just standing outside, not caring about the bullets flying down when Vulcan and Odin are talking to each other.
Yeah, I don't like. It's a weird placing what hurts who. You know what I mean? As we can see, a god can be killed.
Right, with a specific weapon. I think it takes a.
He does. Kimber makes a good point. Odin also heals. He can heal others because it's a charm. Can he do it on himself?
But I think he also specifies it to him. He's saying, like, make me a weapon that can kill a god or something like that. Where something like that specifically, he says. So.
Candace says that she feels like your New Orleans march was more like a Norman Rockwell parade down Main Street kind of Americana thing.
Oh, I have never seen that except for like New Orleans.
Same here. But yeah, possibly.
You know what I mean? But okay, that's cool. Good to know. And the Norman Rockwell thing is kind of like a backhanded like comment too, which is kind of cool. If that's what they're going for, that would have been kind of interesting, but I just don't know about that. So they're talking, they're obviously like good buddies. Right away I got a Han and Lando vibe. because just the way they greeted each other and they're like, "Oh yeah, you, oh, I got a gift. Oh, all
Why
right,
you no good?
yeah." So I figured something was up, and they talk it out, and he gets Vulcan to make him a sword so that he'll be prepared for the upcoming war at hand, and of course while trying to recruit him.
Right. Well, even that vibe with the lynch tree they had, and then the people walking by and going like evening, and they're like evening or whatever.
Oh,
Like it was like in sync with those two, but Shadow was taken aback by everything. That was an interesting dynamic to see as well.
Now, I think it's also interesting that, a character named Mr. Wood gets name dropped, and there is so much focus on the tree in Vulcan's yard, which also kind of confirmed my suspicions that something was up. Because if, like, an eye could show, because it seems like whoever Mr. Wood is either after Shadow for his own reasons or working with
The new guy.
Mr. World.
Yeah.
Also,
Also, with the eye in the sky, you think that was a satellite going by? Saying, they said someone's always watching,
yes.
and then you see like a star in the sky moving, kind of thing. It could have been a shooting star, but it could also have been a satellite.
I thought it was definitely a satellite.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's another way that they could have figured it out too. But what are you laughing about?
What Kimber just said.
Babe, don't tell him about that. So the cab goes back to the alligator bar, which is all right, I guess. Like, it was cool the first time I saw it.
Well, we had to have the callback again, right? Another callback.
Well, they built that set.
They did build that set, but there's plenty of other places that they've been to that they could have went to, or maybe a new place. I don't know. It's fun, but I just feel like Sweeney's not welcome there. So why would they go back there? Oh, Sweeney's asleep in the car, so he doesn't even know.
No, he comes
in.
Then he comes
in, but he doesn't know that's where they're going.
Yeah.
So. Now then they have their back and forth about everything, and it's just about, like,
bring up the whole thing about fuck those assholes. They brought up that concept in the car, and
yeah.
they continue it here.
Exactly, and they have a good conversation. This is where Sweeney's making those like comments about the gin again. You know what I mean? Trying to like figure out how much the cabbie actually knows.
And he had a genie in his bottle. Don't forget, that was said in the car, but yeah, he knows about the whole situation.
Some sexual innuendos from Sweeney.
There are many innuendos. There also a big thing about Vulcan's character that we kind of glanced over is he's a man of sacrifice. Like, that's how he's gotten to this point. And every bullet with his name on it, that and obviously, not obviously for some people don't know, but Vulcan is also equivalent to Hephaestus, who is the god of the forge. He made many weapons for like Zeus and the other like heroes
Ares.
of Greek mythology. Ares
Poseidon,
too, yeah.
Poseidon, Hades, all of them.
So he's also kind of equivalent with like the Norse dwarven gods. They're very similar when you compare like what they are all about. But so we see that that's kind of gone to, he has been able to adapt, and instead of swords, it's guns, and I feel like he's more powerful now than he probably would have been back in the day.
And you can see this like a converse image of what you see for Bilquis. How Bilquis is struggling to get followers, and this is so much easier in a world where it's dominated by like the Second Amendment and all that kind of stuff. And so we see different like terror crimes every day on TV nowadays, and all that kind of stuff, all this violence, like gun violence. It's easy for Vulcan to be worshipped or followed.
Yeah, I love the line because he says like there's a volcano in every man's hand, and
right.
The power of fire is fire power, which I thought was a cool line. Just to kind of finally like seal that deal, like combining that concept. But he goes and he does forge the blade for Odin. I think they really kind of missed the bar on this scene. Not only the way that Vulcan kind of goes out at the end, but like when they talk about it in the book, and I just said I wouldn't complain, But the reason I was excited for Brian Fuller being on the project is because I was excited for like his visualizations from like what he did in Hannibal, seeing like two different versions of people, like the Wendigo and Hannibal. And during this whole forging scene, like he is like straight up a Greek god. Like he looks like he's in the Roman armor and like, but he's the guy at the same time. So I thought that was going to be really cool, and I felt a little let down about that because I do hype up Brian Fuller's visualizations all the time.
So you think the scene would have played better if he was more in like welding gear and all that kind of stuff, like protective? So
I felt like it would have been weird if he was doing that, and every time the hammer struck, you know, Shadow got a glimpse of his real self.
Right.
You know what I mean? The veil lifted.
But
I
hate on Hannibal, like you said, frequently.
he did that on Hannibal all the time, which made me think, oh, he's perfect for this, because later on he does it, you know, with one of the Deva. Deva shows up, and you can see both sides, and I'm worried that, oh, we're not going to be able to see that. So I'm hoping.
But you know, the thing about like in a lot of mythology and cultures and religions, like I don't want this to be ruined by what I say, but a human cannot, even a demigod cannot see the form of a god, the true form of a god, because then, you know, they'll die. So like, you know, I don't know how that plays into Shadow or not, but I think if they're going by that, they shouldn't be able to see the form of the god, the true form of the god.
Yeah, but the audience isn't any of the characters in the story.
Right, but
so
if Shadow like reacts to it, then
even if it wasn't through Shadow's view, and Shadow thought he saw something, and we got a clearer version of that thing, that would have been better. I just think they glanced over the coolest part about Vulcan.
All right.
Candace says it was also a missed opportunity that they didn't drive home the point that the new gods glamorize violence, which keeps him relevant.
He kind of says that when he goes, you know, they can make you better. Like, you know, you're on the wrong side or whatever he was telling them after he finds out that he was betrayed. You know, I think Vulcan kind of hints at that a little bit.
Yeah, and as Odin gets that sword he forges for him, they find out that, yeah, Vulcan indeed did betray Odin and called them in some way. And Odin, like, there was not even, it just happened. Like, he has a sword, and then Odin, like, Vulcan's, like, throat is slit, and then the head falls off. Like, for how cool the Viking scene was with how, like, they showed violence, that just seems so, like, B-movie. Like, it didn't, and not B-movie in a good way, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't impactful. It just felt like it happened, and then him kicking the body into the forgery, that was the forge, that was kind of cool. And for the whole thing before, the setup, like, oh, you need to sacrifice someone to your cause, and then he ends up sacrificing Vulcan. Right. I thought that was interesting because you could see when the smoke rises up out of the forge that, like, he kind of feels like more empowered. The quickening. It did feel like Highlander. You're right.
And how funny is it? I think Joe's home. All right, nice to see that they're home and they landed safely.
Yeah, good. We love those guys.
What I was gonna say, it's so funny to see how complicit Shadow is. He's like, we're gonna rob a bank. Okay, here we go to rob a bank. He just kills someone with a sword, and then he's like, take the sword, and like it's gonna have his fingerprints on it as well. Not that like any of that stuff matters. It's just funny, kind of like the little.
He did say, like, he was like, oh my God, what did you do? I don't think again, we didn't have time as an audience to react. I don't think Shadow had time to stop him. So he did do that, but he also doesn't understand what's going on fully at the same time. So I feel like he's kind of in a fog at this point. He clearly isn't seeing things clearly.
Right.
I also am interested, to see where those bullets go if they come back up, because
what happens, Odin pisses inside the vat, right? That after Vulcan falls into it, Odin pisses, and he's like, I'm cursing it. I'm laying down a curse. So we'll see. Maybe they backfire against their users. Who knows?
Because that would be interesting if, like, it showed later on, like, this whole, like,
I think they will
going on, and all these, like, idiots with these gun, like, and not every gun owner is an idiot, but obviously this town in Virginia that's in the show is, like, just full of, like, dummies. It would be cool to see, like, all of their guns, like, backfire at the same time or something. That would be cool.
Hits him in the eye.
Yeah, well, all of them just like an eye for an eye, exactly, like kind of like but we don't know. And then we go to the cab where Salim's praying. I thought this scene was beautiful. How it was, the sunrise and everything going on around it, and no one, like, Sweeney's an asshole all the time, but Sweeney knows better than to interrupt someone praying or to say it. He's quiet because
He
I
does
think
have that little spit at the end, though.
well, at the end, yeah, because I feel like he has some resentment. You know what I mean? Where no one stops on the side of the highway to pray for Sweeney. You know what I mean? At the time, you would probably have a better chance of running into Sweeney on the highway than Allah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, who knows? But that was the first episode. We got about 15 minutes until 10 o'clock. We might be able to run a little bit over, but we do want to keep this condensed.
And end with like Salim saying God is great, but then Laura says no, life is great, and then he goes, life is great. So meaning that she's trying to accept life now. I really think she was trying to commit suicide earlier in the 2 episodes ago when I wasn't here, but I know you guys all had different aspects about that.
And she was thinking about it again in the car ride earlier. Right. I think she wants to feel that way. I don't know if she does. I don't think I'd know if she would even know what that feeling is if she did feel it at this point. And it's not because she's dead. It's just because Laura is just so apathetic that I don't know if even now she gets it. One thing we did glance over. Odin asked Shadow to look for Laura. Remember?
At the end?
No, well, not at the end, during the episode. I just forgot it in my notes. He goes, what is Laura doing right now? When they're talking about, like...
Oh, yeah. And we see her looking into the house, yeah.
And he does. He sees her somewhere else doing the whole showing up at her parents' thing. And I thought the effect where we see that gold shine that she sees from his eye was really cool, too. I just feel like that's something that we can't ignore. That was kind of cool.
And that was her family, right? That was
her family, yes.
Right. And she says, fuck those assholes. That's what, so. Yeah.
But, all right. Anything from the trailer?
Oh, so next week's episode is going to be about Mad Sweeney. They show him like in a war scene from, I guess, like olden times. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be an origin story for Mad Sweeney.
Awesome. Okay, so as far as callers, we have
Mac, and I think Candace, Mac, and then Candace, I think also.
And is there any other callers? I don't
think so.
You want to get them in again at the same time? Because
Son Michelle's watching, but I don't think she calls in, which is fine. And Joe is just checking in. Tom Zambino is here. Hey, I didn't see
I think he left.
Okay, and so we'll just get Mac and Candace in here, and we'll real talk.
Go at it. I think they're a good duo on this.
They are.
It's cool because Candace is very informed on the show, and Mac is like me, where we haven't read the books. So we're just
she was complaining about none of this stuff that's happened.
That is true.
In the order.
Yeah, that's why I opened with the show with saying like I have to just let go, because if I don't, it's just gonna bother me.
Let it go.
All right, both invites are out, so accept those whenever you're ready. I got notified while we were talking, Cal, that Mac, the guy who's about to call in, just uploaded 5 and 5 month Kingdom Hearts Day 1 Worlds Connected. I love Kingdom Hearts, so I'm gonna say that as much as I can.
Before we get into their calls, I have the whole Kingdom Hearts collection. I got the remastered collection to play through it. And I stopped playing like when I got to the first town it was, because I got the new Marvel game that you guys should check out, Marvel Heroes Omega. That's free. But once I go through that game again with my friends, I'll probably get back into Kingdom Hearts and play through the whole thing before Destiny 2 comes out.
Yay! What's up, everybody? Yay! I'm here.
What's going on, Mac?
Was I supposed to say something?
Hey, how's it going? Cal, you can see Mac, right? Because he's not showing up on my screen, but I'm sure he's there.
Okay. He's very quiet. You got to get closer to the mic or something, Mac. I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're better.
All right, sorry. Yeah. How's everybody?
Good,
You're
good.
doing good, man. How are you?
Now Mac froze.
Tired.
Oh, there he goes.
Now I'm a little tired. I got off of work, so just that's
That's understandable.
yeah.
I'm about to go into work, so I feel the opposite of you. Opposite. Episode.
I digged it. There was some in the beginning. Like I said, like me and Cal was talking about the hands thing, and like I said, I got rewatch it because I like the whole appearance. Because I was just watching it, I was like, okay, what's going on here? They're praying, and I was like, okay, what's gonna happen here? And then all of a sudden they go into the water, and you see. You see the man. You see one of them go out the water, and then you see one walking above water. And I was like, okay, this is the Jesus Christ metaphor. This is what Wednesday was talking about. He met certain people, and I was like, okay, so he's literally walking. I dig that exit of it. Like I said, I love. There was some like, certain things about it, but I
Candace.
hey Candace, what's up?
Hey, Candace.
Hi.
Go ahead, Mac.
There were some aspects about, like I said, I thought when they went to Virginia, I was thinking to myself like, okay, is this supposed to represent Trump America? I'm sorry, I want to see. I mean, that kind of got me scared a little bit because I was like, okay, this town is full of a lot of white people, and there's not one black person in here, and they're talking about you like that noose over there, boy, and I was like, okay, I'm uncomfortable now. So
Trigger
yeah,
warning.
that part kind of, huh?
Trigger warning.
Kind of got me a little like, okay,
Yeah.
I watched Roots. I remember when I was a kid, I kept watching Roots, and I was like, okay, yeah, no. So yeah, that kind of got me. But other than that, I dig the episode. I like that. I like the fact that Wednesday took the sword and sliced his head off, and I was just yelling, like I was sitting there screaming. I was sitting there like ultra kill. Like I just was awesome. It was so awesome when he chopped his head off. So I dig that, and it was like I need a sword, and like I said, some of the aspects I like, and some of the things I didn't like. But I'm gonna let Candace take on them.
I agree with you, Tom. I feel like at this point I have to kind of just like let go because I don't know what the hell's going on. Obviously I missed last week with you guys. And I actually so I had to work late last week, which is why I wasn't here, and I didn't get a chance to watch it before the show because I was working all weekend. So I watched them back to back. Like I wanted to wait to see if maybe like 2 in 1 would give me a better perspective on the show rather than trying to like wait one at a time. Because like if you have 2 in 1, you can kind of get more of a sense of the story that they're telling. And I think I enjoyed myself a little bit more. I surprisingly am in the camp of those who have had Laura grow on them, but like not as Laura the way that I saw her in the book, more just like as who she is, like very specifically in the show and the plot device that they're kind of using her as. But I definitely can agree that the scene where they go to Vulcan made me uncomfortable. I liked the foreshadowing, like they actually show those bullets earlier on in the episode, and I got pretty excited because I was like, ooh, who's next? Because in the book, where I am, there's a certain happening that goes on before this that is a pretty big deal that like hasn't happened in the show yet, and I'm like, where is this thing that I'm waiting for to happen? Yeah. There's a lot of other stuff that's going on. Pretty sure that's later on in the book, but whatever. So I hadn't read about him very much in the book, but I agree with you, Tom. I feel like it was a missed opportunity to show the way that he actually looks. For some reason, I've been racking my brain since you made that point, trying to remember a movie or a TV show that kind of utilizes it. And like the only example I'm coming up with right now is like really lame and cheesy, but kind of like in Ghost Rider, where like no one actually sees the way they look. You know what I mean? Like as they pass, it's like something you almost see, like Odd Thomas, the Botox. It's like something you see out of the corner of your eye, kind of.
I'm glad you specified the book because that movie.
Yeah, terrible. Let's not talk about that. That's like a
That was a horrible movie.
horrible. And such an easy thing to turn into a good movie. I don't understand. But whatever.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, but Nick Cage was awesome in it, though. He was awesome. I'm sorry, he was freaking awesome in that movie. I can't get over Nick Cage just going crazy.
That's a
in the
guilty
film,
pleasure
so
for
I'm
me.
sorry.
I don't like Ava Mendes very much. Like I think she's kind of cheesy sometimes. Like she's just a little boring. She's pretty, but she's boring for me. But I actually kind of like that movie too. I'm not gonna lie about it. I went to go see it.
Yeah,
Our own Kimber Barrett actually in the movie theater.
It's a true story.
Okay. Let me write that down. Guilty movie number 90, 60 something. Okay,
Yeah,
I got that.
It's a long list.
All right, that's somewhere. It's on the list.
But yeah, I think that it was. I think that was a missed opportunity. I think it would have been cool to kind of see, like, even if like his eyes would have lit up, or like show that like the fire is like part of him. You know what I mean? Some way to like even him melting into the vat. Like that was cool. But at the same time, when you think about the fact that he's like this god of fire, kind of, and like he's like this creator and this like really buff like manly man kind of, you know, I don't know, this like forger. Like
Here's
I do agree his end was a little anemic for me.
here's where
I
I'm
think
at.
it was more so. Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Sorry,
Here's where I'm at
no.
with it. I think it's a missed, not only a huge missed opportunity, but Shadow's been questioning this the entire time. What are you?
Yeah.
And if he had seen Vulcan for what he was, or at least a glimpse of it, and then, which would make him seem like terrifying, I think, like awe-inspiring at the very least.
Should have done it like the gym.
That too. And then you see Odin, when Odin goes and kills Vulcan, get a quick glimpse of what he truly is. You know what I mean? And then Shadow can start to finally put the pieces together. But it was just like,
Should have done it like the gym though, with like
You don't think they're trying to save that for a
Yeah.
better moment in the show? Later on in the
put
show?
on a different.
Maybe I feel like there are
Was
so
that-
many opportunities that we could kind of do this. Like there's like this book is just, I mean, it's so vast and so expansive, and the story that it tells is like so deep that I feel like you really just have unlimited potential. So I don't know why they felt the need to create so much when there was already so much to play with.
Right, but I feel like they would probably save something like
Okay.
that for the finale, because I feel like as a payoff for the finale, maybe they'll say that for that. Like you see with Game of Thrones, things they wait towards the end of the season and stuff like that. So I could see that happening in a few weeks.
Well, they only have 2 episodes left.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, season 5 of Game of Thrones, we see the Mountain and the Serpent, right? But
yeah, Red
that's
Viper.
that's like the middle of that season, though. You know what I mean? So it's not like they make you wait for that level of violence and that level of
No, that was
shock.
like episode 8 or 9, I think, which is always like the big payoff episode.
It's not the last episode. There's
Yeah.
like 3 episodes.
No, I know, but 8 for Game of Thrones, the way they do it, it's always like episode 8 or 9 is a big episode of the season.
Right. I think this one's 7. I want to say the Viper is like number 7, and this is number 7 in these episodes for American Odds, right?
No, this is
No,
6.
this is 6.
Right. It's 6
of
of 8. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying
that's
we're
correct.
still.
Yeah.
I am lost in that episode. I can't remember. Yeah.
Was
I
it-
feel like so with what Candace is talking about, I feel like it's more so of the actor. I felt like I agree with you that they should have put some fire in them or something like that from what you're seeing in the book. I felt like if you probably got an actor that just puts fear into you and you believe, okay, this man looked like he could be a man of fire. I felt like if you were to put, I don't know, Robert Englund in this film, in this show, and let him play it, I would have been down with that because, I mean, you got a little figure that was burned alive in Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, put him in this. So I would like to see that. I don't know about y'all, but I dig
It's
it.
funny because for me, so Zernabog, right? When I read Zernabog in the book, I imagine like Bob Hoskins kind of, but like
Yeah.
beefier. You know what I mean? Like very like broad, very big hands, like just kind of like almost like if Mario from like Mario Brothers didn't have a mustache and was like gray,
Oh God, you trying to bring up that movie?
you know, like just like. And like, it's funny because if I had to cast Vulcan, I'd probably pick the guy who plays Zernabog in the show. Like, to me, Peter Stormare is a better Hephaestus. Like, he's got broad shoulders, he's big, he looks worn, he looks tired, he looks, like he's got, a lot of years and miles on him. Like, that's who I would have cast, I think, as Vulcan. Not to say that that guy didn't do a good job. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I think
it
he
was
did a good.
Corbin Burnson was Vulcan.
Yeah, that's the guy from Psych, right?
Yeah, from Psych, and Roger Dorn from Major League Movies.
I'm not saying that he did bad. I'm just saying that I don't know what he's supposed to portray in the book. But when I saw him, I was like, okay, he's scary. But I was like, if I saw Robert Englund in that situation, I would have been very scared because I was like, okay, what is Freddy Krueger doing?
Yeah, I feel like that would have been too distracting for
doing
me.
as a guide and trying to. Yeah.
It was
It's sort- I
also
don't-
unfortunate that we'll never see Vulcan with a hammer in his hand, which is how we should see Vulcan. But
Right.
we can't have two characters with hammers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I know.
Why Thor's not in the story either.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I get you. But that's just the way I see it.
anyway, were there any last points anyone wanted to make before we wrapped up?
I did want to comment on what you said before about how they seem to be trying to tackle all of these like really relevant and socially conscious issues, but like either doing too little or not enough. You know what I mean? I mean, either not enough or too much. And I very much feel like that's the MO of this show. Like, I feel like they're having a really hard time striking a balance of what they want to be versus what they know they can be. Some other shows that I'm watching right now that for me, like, hit the nail on the head immediately, like Legion. Like, you watch Legion and the way that they film the show, the way they write the show is very much indicative of the mental state of the main character. So as you're watching this show, like, you're living it with him almost. It's really interesting. And then like Harlot's, like,
Yeah,
that first episode, like, it comes right out of the gate. It's immediately strong. It knows what it wants from you. It knows its audience. I feel like this show is like, oh, well, we can get a lot of people. We can catch a lot of fish with this net. But instead of just being like, we need to limit the net to being this big and tell a really awesome story, they're just like, the net is as big as we want it to be. And I'm like, no, narrow it down. Give me something cohesive. Like, really pay attention to your characters. Like, you don't have to add all that extra. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the way the Game of Thrones book fans, like A Song of Ice and Fire fans, I feel like the way that they feel about Game of Thrones, the show, is probably similar to how I feel about this show, where it's just like,
Oh,
episodes
for
are
sure.
like,
Yeah, that's how I feel too. At least it's been so long since I've read the book, although thanks Joe and Ashley, now I can read it again. That I've been kind of like, I have these gaps in my like memory, but when it's so fresh in your mind, it's like a wound. You know what I mean? It's like salt.
it hurt.
So
I like-
Mac, anything else?
I like what Candace is saying. Yeah, you get the aspect of certain people not seeing what you get from the book and taking it from the context. So I agree with what you're saying, because there's some people that's gonna look at the book. I'm speaking as a guy who never read the book and just watching the show. And I want the thing I think that you need to do when you're trying to create a show is make the person go watch the show, make it interesting, and make them go back and watch the book. Because when you get people going back and reading the book, it makes it more interesting. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I actually want to read the book now.
But I'm not saying it can't be done. I mean, look at the Harry Potter films. Like, they stuck with the main story and they trimmed like some of the cooler. Like, I love Peeves the Poltergeist, but he wasn't featured as heavily in the you know what I mean, like, there's all these things that they trimmed the quote unquote fat so they would have like the same story at the very least. Like, it's this, like, I remember, like, it's the same motions towards the end result at the very least. So it's not like.
I agree with you, but I read the Hunger Games and I watched the movie, and there are a lot of stuff they took away from the movies, and I was like, that wasn't in the book I read. Okay, I agree with you saying they took a lot of stuff out of that because they cut the fat, and then I hate the fact when they do it in the end when they cut it into 2 films, like, it's to make more money. I was like, and then people like, it's a big book, and I literally told them, no, it's not a big book. I got a book right here.
look, Hunger Games was battle royale from the gate, so I don't think it really had a chance in the movies. As a book,
Yeah.
maybe
Thank
because
you.
of the characters.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I got you. Yeah, battle royale.
No problem. Anyway, we're going to wrap up.
Yeah.
I think that was a thorough recap, and I'd like to thank everyone involved. You can check out oddshapechannel.com anytime you want to see what our next live episode is, or to find any of our old content, or what we have upcoming. We got articles up there. We got links to merch by G9 Design, and just a bunch of fun stuff. And some stuff in the pipeline too. I know a lot of people are talking about doing some more projects, and we have some get out of here. Sorry. And we have some giveaways coming up. We're going to have a channel giveaway, and we're going to, based around our shows, and we're also going to have a space opera giveaway when we do our space opera episode of Odd Shape Panel. Next live episode, besides Twin Peeps tomorrow, is going to be our Q&A episode in 2 weeks. We're going to be talking about our Philadelphia trip, recent news, so please submit us questions. There's a thread on Twitter, and I'll be reblogging that probably every day, so you can find that. Let's go around and talk about who we are as people. Cal?
Okay. Yeah. So you can catch me. I'll be calling in tomorrow for the Twin Peeps episode, and I will be on the next Odd Shape Panel episode calling in as well for the Philly because I was there. But right before that though, we're gonna have our next Aftermath episode where we're gonna break down. Gosh, what pay-per-view is it now? Money in the Bank. So Money in the Bank pay-per-view right before the Odd Shape Panel Q&A. There's gonna be the Money in the Bank pay-per-view recap. So for Aftermath, and then as soon as this show kind of winds down, we got 2 more weeks left of this. We got a few weeks to wait. Then we got the Night's Watch coming back. So the Night's Watch is gonna come back with a giveaway as well. We're gonna have a premiere party, and it's gonna be fun. So join us for that too. And you can find me at Viren Jadeja on Twitter, and at after_Matt, and at Night's Watch 2. And subscribe to this channel as well as my channel, and all the stuff is there. Don't forget to plug your website as well, oddshapechannel.com.
Oh, Cal, you must have not been paying attention because I did.
I did, but I think as soon as I said that, I remember you said that for all the links.
Well, I mean, there's no bad promotion. Mac, you want to plug something? I know you just uploaded a new video. I got the notification.
The new video I just uploaded, I did, I'm starting my Swords and Shields month. I'm playing an RPG game this whole entire month. I am playing Kingdom Hearts. I'm trying to beat it within this month. It's going to be a doozy because I have just now, I'm getting through Atlantis and trying to get through what I call the gauntlet, which is Hollow Boston. That's going to be a doozy, but I'm going to try and beat it within a month. Also, yesterday I did.
What difficulty are you playing it on?
I'm really right now. I'm trying to beat it, so I'm going to try to put it on beginner at the moment because I haven't played it in a while. So I'm trying.
I'll tell you what. I hadn't played it in a while either, and I played it on hard, and like it is hard. Like I was like, oh my god, I played this game when I was like 14. Why am I not like doing well? And I keep forgetting that it's on hard.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm looking forward to that series, and you can.
But
go ahead.
Also, yesterday I did a top 100. I made a top 100 Get to Movie Pleasures list. I was from 90. I did 90 from 100 to 90. Go watch that. It was fun making that list. Tomorrow, also I do the Tech podcast with Corey. I don't know what happened to him tonight. I called him. I was wondering if he's gonna come in, but I'll run that with him. We're gonna have you on time. I'd love to have anybody that want to join. Come contact me at.
I was gonna come, but Corey didn't show up.
Huh?
So I was gonna come, but Corey didn't show up.
Yeah, I called him and he just didn't want. I don't know what happened. He's AOL right now.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just joshing around. Anyway, you can definitely check out the Game Fixers channel. We usually have a link to that on on the website at Odd Shape Panel. You can just search that in YouTube right up there, and it'll bring you right over there.
Follow me if you want to follow me at Tampa Bay Buckfan 88. I finally got it right this time, people.
Nice. Candace?
Yeah, I'm not doing anything particularly amazing right now other than hanging out with these OS peeps every other week. But you can find me on Twitter at @ThatCandiceGirl.
Yes. And there's stuff afoot. I heard. I'm excited. You can find me, Tom. That's my name, at OddShapePanel. That is the channel's Twitter. So anything channel related or personal, I mean, ask me my favorite color. No one ever does. You can do that over there.
Is it orange?
It's not orange. That's Kimber, but you have a good memory. Kinda.
Okay. Then is it red? I don't know.
It is red. You're right. Well, now everyone knows. So no one's gonna tweet me.
Sorry, 'cause I know I made the colors for your Twitter thing for your favorite colors. I remember because I remember that before.
Thanks.
Sorry.
I appreciate it. That's been the show, guys. We'll see you next week, American Gods fans, if that's your thing. If you like Twin Peaks, come and check out our show tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's an hour earlier than our usual shows. And that's it, I guess. Goodbye.
I've
Bye.
heard about you.
Ah.